welcome back to Y&R For Life, where we talk about all things Y&R related, from my predictions, what I think's going to happen, what's going on currently. Hey, we even talk about fashion on this show because I'm a big time fashion girl, and we got to spill the tea about that from time to time. And if you're new here to this channel, you like what you see, my question is, what took you so long to get here? And if you are returning, what's up? Long time no see. So, it's all for the love of the show. It's all for fun, and I just love Y&R. So, if you are new and you like this type of content, and if you are recurring and you haven't done so, it would be so kind of you to hit that like and subscribe button. It really helps me out. And smash that bell notification so that you don't miss a single video that I post here on Y&R For Life. And my usual disclaimer, if you kind of don't want to know what's going on and you kind of want to get caught up on your own, this might not be what you want to see or hear. However, I am so grateful that you are here. Now, you may be wondering, what is this girl doing? She is wearing like a baseball cap. She's just looking super casual. However, I do have my little gummy bear necklace on. I still got to maintain a little girly girl in me. But this is an homage to Cameron Kirsten, who I am going to call Feeling Myself Cameron Kirsten, because he seems like he's always in the mirror and he is just trying to slick back his hair, or he's just looking at himself. So, Feeling Myself Cameron Kirsten. And since he was wearing a cap, hey, I figured why not? So the last couple of episodes have been like some doozies. And when I mean like doozies, like I want to say definitely the second to last episode of this week was just hysterical. But again, that's just my expert, non-expert opinion. Okay, so before I get into it, as usual, if I happen to need to refer to my notes, it's because I don't want to miss anything. So pardon me if I do that. But again, and if I miss something, hey, as I say, it's the nature of the beast. Maybe it wasn't that important. I don't know. But again, we'll get into it. We'll see where this goes. And everything's hot off the cuff, so let's do this. Okay, so let's see. Oh, right. So Jack and Diane, they end up going to the club after they were at Society, because that's where Ashley was like, oh my God, like, what is she doing here? And we need to call the authorities and get her back, in jail. Like she's breaking, her house monitor rules or whatever. So they saunter off to the club. My guess is the club was right next door, but because everything is like connected. So Jack and Diane go to the club, and they're supposed to be having drinks. So Diane's like, I want to talk to, the bartender, the mixologist, whatever they want to be called. And, I just want to talk to people. So she goes over and she's ordering 2 martinis, one dirty for Jack, and whichever one she wants. I don't know, dirty, wet, it is what it is. So anyway, she comes back with Jack's drink, but she doesn't come back with her own. How they could tell the two apart, I don't know. But such is life. So she leaves her martini on like the bar counter. So Jack's like, where's your drink? Oh, I think with all the excitement, I left my drink at the counter. Pan over to seeing her drink on the counter. So we'll get back to that very momentarily. So they are, having conversation and what have you. So it is what it is. Okay, and I think I might just do the same thing like I did with the last video. We're gonna just try and talk about, the different characters and kind of like where they are and what they were doing rather than trying to go in sequence because like everything was like flip-flopping all over the place and it's probably just easier if we just kind of deal with the characters. Okay, so back to Diane with this martini. So at some point in time, again, this is in no sequence. This is in no proper sequence, but again, just bear with me. So at some point in time, she's like, yeah, I think I'm gonna go and get my drink. So she gets up to go get her drink. Now, I don't know. I don't know why Jack didn't go get it, but I guess for the show purposes, this is what had to happen. So she gets up, she goes over to the bar, and there is feeling myself. I'm feeling myself. Cameron Kirsten just sitting there, kind of slouched over the bar. Where he came from, I don't know. And he basically, the ominous tone was like, I wouldn't leave my drink there for so long. Sorry, there's something in my throat here. So he's like, I wouldn't leave my drink there for so long because you don't know if somebody did anything to your drink. And so Diane, sorry if I laugh, but Diane's like, well, I think it's okay. He's like, really? Like anybody could come by and like just drop something in your drink and you'd be unaware, like nobody would even know. She's like, well, yeah, well, I think I feel pretty comfortable. Me and my husband, because now, she's clearly afraid of, you know, feeling myself, Cameron Kirsten. And she's like, now Jack is the husband. So she's like, yeah, me and my husband, we come here all the time. Like everybody knows us and we know everybody. And he's like, well, you don't know me. And of course, that freaks her out. And so she's about ready to leave with the same martini. And then she catches herself and she goes to the bartender and says, would you be so kind to, like, you know, make me another one of these? So then Cameron Kirsten's like, good, good idea. And he slinks off. He's almost like Slippery Summer, where like he just pops in and pops out like whenever the spirit moves him. So Diane goes back over to the table and she's like, tells Jack, basically there was like some creepy man, sorry, creepy man at the bar, and Jack's like, oh, who was that? She's like, I don't know, never seen him before, and I can't remember. I did Jack know Cameron Kirsten from back in the day? I don't know. It's been so long. Again, kind of don't know why he's back in the show, but I will give my prediction as to, where things may go by the time he either vacates the show or it gets a little further. Again, this has to do with Nick, and on his chest, Nicholas. So, yeah, that's pretty much where that happens. So we'll get back to them shortly. Okay, so Summer gets this text from Phyllis, and it was basically she wanted to see Daniel. And, Summer is at the Abbott estate at this point when she receives this text, and she's like, oh my God, Mom, you've got to let this go. Like, this is not going to happen. I don't think she texted it back to Phyllis, but she kind of, if anything, she ignored the text. Well, pan over to Phyllis. She's, like, come on, baby girl, super girl, whatever. Like, what's going on? I haven't heard from you. So Phyllis clearly takes matters into her own hands again. and she sends some, you know, weird message to Daniel. We don't know what the message says, but Daniel's at society and he's like, what is this? This is weird. Again, we know this. We have to know. Like, you're living under a rock if you didn't realize that that text was from Phyllis. So, anyway, pan over to Phyllis's room. I'm going to say the communal hotel room. Um, Eventually, Summer reaches there, and because she slipped out on Kyle, because they were gonna have some sort of celebration for Diane and being free as a bird, and Summer just was like, I gotta go, and Kyle's like, wait, what? Like, it's late. She's like, oh no, I have to make amends with Daniel. Like, our relationship has been like, hindered, and we have to make it right. Mom wouldn't really like this, and blah blah blah. So she slips out again. Slippery Summer strikes again, looking all messy. And it's funny, she's wearing like black and white stripes, which in my head kind of reminded me of jail colors or jail outfit, but okay. So she's now reaches over at Phyllis's room, and she's like, Mom, like, this whole thing that you want to meet up with Daniel, this is not going to happen. It's not going to happen, Mother. And next thing you know, brap, brap, brap on the door. Well, who could it be now? It is Do-Gooder Daniel. And so Summer opens the door. Phyllis is behind the door a bit, little offside. And Daniel's like, Summer, what are you doing here? And did you send me this, like, weird text? Phyllis opens the door some more, and it was like, hi. And Daniel, of course, is looking in shock because he is now seeing his mother. Anyway, so next thing you know, they are now greeted. They are now in the hotel room having big conversation. Do-Gooder Daniel wants his mother to turn herself in and what have you. Through this conversation, Phyllis finds out that Diane has now been freed from jail, and so now Phyllis is having this boo-hoo-hoo pity party on herself, saying like, oh great, there she is. She's living the life now. And she gets off, and meanwhile, my life is a living hell. And Daniel, again, this was funny. Yeah, that's because you did this, and you created this, and Diane was innocent all this time. Like almost like, what are you not getting here, Mother? And yeah, so Phyllis is like, she's living like, basically she's living the life that she wanted. So I don't know. Again, as I said, I'm a Phyllis fan, but Phyllis, you are in the wrong. I mean, wrong is wrong, and I will say, like, this was on you. So there you go. That was Phyllis and Daniel and Summer. But of course, there's more to that story. Okay, so let's pan back over to Sharon and Nicholas. They are at the coffee house. Well, Sharon was at the coffee house. Nick comes in. Sharon is frazzled, and she's like, oh my goodness, like, you scared me. He's like, look, Sharon, like, you can't be too careful. You got to really lock up, make sure the doors are locked, because this maniac is on the loose. And yeah, so Nick's like locking doors and turning around the closed and open sign to show closed. And yeah, so he's helping Sharon clean up. My thing is this. Did they not remember the patio? Like, is there a separate door for the patio here? Like, I'm confused. We've never seen this. All I do know is to get up to Sharon's apartment where now Chelsea, does Chelsea still, yeah, Chelsea still lives there. It's like through the patio, the back of the patio, and I don't know. So like, okay, Nick, you used to work there. Like, you don't know that there's a door. I Writers, can we see if there's a door? Like, we want to see this. Like, let's see the set. Is there a door? Because I don't understand why Cameron was able to come in if that's the case and just saunter on by. Um, yeah. And do you not have any alarm systems? I don't know. All right, I digress. So Nicholas ends up telling Sharon about Sally and the preeclampsia. I can't even speak. Sorry. Um, because Sharon was like, "Don't you have somewhere to go? You should be with Sally." And so Nick, you know, tells her what's going on. Sharon's like, "Well, geez, Nick, that's pretty serious. Like, you should be with her." He's like, "No, she's, taking a rest. She's at home. She's good. She's just gonna cut back on her workload and what have you. So, and I'm not gonna feel safe until I get you home. And while this madman's out there again, we have to be on. I believe he said DEFCON 1. I laughed. Chime in. What is DEFCON 1? I'm unaware. So I'm assuming that means high alert. I don't know. So anyway, he's like, okay, what can I do to help to, kind of speed up the closing of the store? And so Sharon's like, well, you could be on sugar duty. So he's like, yeah, basically after their little, back and forth, cute little conversation, she's like, oh, the sugar is in like the back room on the top shelf on the right, blah blah blah. Well, of course it is, because this just leads up to where Cameron Kirsten, I'm feeling myself, comes in. So Nick's off getting the sugar, and she's like, yeah, I'm gonna go on the patio to deal with the sugar there. So Sharon toddles off to the patio, and she, when she goes to pick up the sugar, that's where you see Cameron standing through the glass, you know, on the patio. And so he comes in, she turns around, boom, the glass sugar jar. I dare say she threw it. It didn't look like it just fell from her hands. Like, it looked like it was thrown, and sugar's everywhere. Um, let's just hope when they actually film this, this poor man didn't actually get cut, because yeah, that glass would have gone everywhere, like everywhere. And hopefully they did it in one take, because if they had to do that in a few takes, that's kind of a waste of a sugar jar. That's just me. Hopefully they went to the dollar store, if they have dollar stores up there in LA. But again, that's just my opinion. So Cameron is like talking to her, and let's just move along. He basically wants to, I don't know. I guess he wants to just kiss her or something. I have no idea what this man wants, why he's there. I mean, yes, it's for the 50th anniversary, but why is this dude in Genoa City? I mean, I don't know. So just when, and this is where it kind of gets even funnier. So just then, he kind of grabs Sharon by the cheek, and he's leaning in to give her, the kiss, because he was telling her about her mouth and from the past and blah blah blah. And just then, and on his chest, Nicholas comes in to save the day, and he's like, "Hey, you! Like, you better get your hands off her." You know, I just saw that finger pointing, and you know, he's like, "Hey there, Slick," and I'm like, "Okay, here we go. This is Comedy Central." Hey there, Slick. Like basically, you've always been a hothead, and yeah. So he's like, you don't touch my family. So so then Cameron's like, oh, I met your daughter Faith, and pretty young thing. So you don't talk about her. It's like, you better not say her name, and you better leave before I break you in half. I was like, oh, well then, Nicholas. Alrighty then. You go, boy, you go. So, yeah. So Cameron's like, take it easy, Nicholas, I come in peace, man. I swear, he just needs to be like, peace and love, man. Peace and love. Again, he's feeling himself. And he basically is like, yeah, I just came to say hi. Hi. And he toddles off. So, of course, Nick and Sharon have their warm embrace, which leads me to my prediction. Well, I truly think that Sally and Adam will get together. As much as I don't want that to happen, I believe this is what's going to happen, which will leave the road open for what did they call them? Schick, Sharon and Nick to get back together, because they seem to be like very touchy-feely, cozy, since this whole Cameron Kirsten story, and a lot of flashbacks and what have you. So, I don't know. What say you? Anyway, so, and can I just say thank you, writers, for not putting Slimy Nate on these last couple of episodes? It has been like a relief. A complete relief. So I'm good. Okay. So what do we have next here? Let's see. Let me just check, because again, I don't want to miss anything. Yeah. So again, Victor and Nikki, they come in to the club, and they see Jack and Diane sitting at the table. And Nikki's like, oh, like, what are you doing here? This kind of thing. And yeah, how did you get this to happen for you to be released? I mean, I know Michael's a great lawyer, but like how did this work? Well, here's a funny line from Diane. At some point in time, again, after this banter back and forth, Diane says, the irony is that I was basically charged for committing murder, yet the person who did this to me actually committed murder. Boy, I nearly fell out on the chair over that one. I was like, Diane, that was that was a good one. And my thing is, why didn't Jack even, like, he just kind of stood there, and just the insults were going back and forth, and he didn't really say anything. He just kind of, did his, a few little gestures like, oh, like, but he never really said anything. So if she was almost like how Rose was on the Titanic movie, on the door. And yeah, she was all by herself floating around, and Jack just let her float, and that was it. Anyway, let's see where we're at. Yeah, so we had Victor uh, being told, again, I could be glossing over some things. They had some scene fillers in there, and that was with Jack and Diane when they actually went to the Neil's Jazz Lounge, because they were flip flopping from society to the club back to Neil's Jazz Lounge. Like, it was all over the place. So the scene fillers was just them dancing at the Jazz Lounge. She was had a few tears, like, oh my gosh, back to the scene of the crime, but I'm so grateful that I'm here with you and I love you and blah 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 blah. Okay, so back to Victor and Nikki. They learn from Sharon and Nick that Cameron Kirsten is back in town. And because Sharon is like, we need to let Victor in on this information, because, like, in essence, they don't trust the GCPD. And I don't blame them, because, as Victor said, he dare say that his security is better than the GCPD, which is true. However, let's backtrack just a trifle. Cameron Kirsten, you know the deal. He leaves he leaves his hotel room, and he's off somewhere. So, he doesn't come back until after we learn that Victor finds this information out from Nick and Sharon. He gets his security team beefed up, where there'll be like 24 hours surveillance. And, he tells Sharon that she needs to get some rest, blah, blah, blah. So, by the time Cameron Kirsten comes back to his hotel room, tell me where he found a black garbage bag so easily. Like, he just carries around a black garbage bag? That's weird. And he puts it on the bed. He starts taking off his stuff. His boots are in the bag. His hat's in the bag. Shirt goes in the bag. Eventually, I'm assuming like he has taken everything and he puts it in the bag. Is he going to incinerate this thing? I don't know. But then Nick ends up getting a text from Daddy-O that basically says that they found one of the security people kind of like bound and gagged, and his uniform went missing. Well, then we realize that Cameron Kirsten has this uniform. How do we know this? Because after he puts the stuff in the bag, he pulls out this security uniform, because it's got like an N on like the shirt with a circle around it, which of course stands for Newman. And then he's got a security badge. I couldn't even tell you what the name on the security badge was. And then he has like some sort of like walkie-talkie where he can like listen in on stuff. So clearly he's going to now become part of the Newman security team to keep a watchful eye on his prized possession, which is Sharon. So we will see where that goes. Let's go back, and again, if I'm missing anything, maybe it just wasn't that important. However, we're going to talk about maybe two more things. Before we talk about Summer again, we're going to talk about Ashley and Tucker, who I now consider to be Laurel and Hardy. These two are like the comic relief of the show. Especially that Tucker. Man, he has me in stitches. His facial expressions, his one-liners, they are hysterical. So, from last time, the two of them left. I believe they were at Society, and they were going to go for their little romp in the sack. They come back and they're having drinks, and Ashley is going over this whole Diane story and how she's going to try and take over our family business, get her like grimy paws in it, and Jack is going to be like, disappointed and hurt and whatever. So Tucker's like, look, can we just let the whole Diane story like rest? Like, give it a rest. Like, we just had mind blowing do 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 do. And Ashley's like, and yeah, but she's like, but I cannot rest. So Ashley is back to this, wants to kind of like stage a coup. So she wants Tucker to help her with this. So Tucker's like, well, again, I don't see why, like, you really think this is going to happen? Oh, yeah. And he's like, so what you're saying is basically that you're trying to save Jack from getting hurt by trying to remove what you believe is a threat. Because again, it's not so much as about taking over, but it's about helping Jack. So Ashley's like, basically, like, yeah. So Tucker's like, yeah, so my thing is this. In order for this to work, I'll be in, but we got to get married. Well, there was really no pushback from Ashley. And he's like, well, think about it. I will have that much more leverage if I am your husband. So, of course, the wheels on the bus go round and round in Ashley's head. And it was probably like, this is a very good idea. So, again, Laurel and Hardy, they end up back at the Abbott estate. Summer, Kyle, Jack, and Diane are there, and they come in with champagne, and it was like, and I swear, like, they just couldn't stop laughing, and they're like, oh great, you're all here, like, we're gonna celebrate because this beauty, this woman here has agreed to be my wife. So, of course, Smiling Jack is like, okay. Doesn't say a word, but he's like, oh my gosh. Diane, similar look. Kyle and Summer, again, they all probably had the same page of the book where they had the same facial expression. So, that was that. Back to Summer. Summer got caught. She got caught. She was at Phyllis's hotel room. Again, her, Kyle, and Phyllis, they were agreeing that they would try and, work together in order to not get the authorities involved, buy Phyllis more time, move her to a safer location, blah, 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 blah. Daniel asked Summer, do you have any ideas basically where we could put mom and store her, if you will? And she's like, I got to sleep on this. First of all, I've been gone too long. I don't want Kyle to get suspicious. Like, I got to get out of here. She grabs her bag hurriedly, and just as soon as she opens the door, dum-da-da-dum, there is Kyle. And he's like, oh, what the hell? So, yeah, Kyle has now seen Phyllis. Phyllis is now pretending as though she is so remorseful that, she's now wanting to make amends, but she's begging Kyle not to go to the authorities, and she just wants to buy some more time to figure things out. And Kyle's like, are you kidding me? And eventually Kyle is like, fine, no cops. They go back to the house. This is just prior to Laurel and Hardy's story. Kyle and Summer go back to the house, and Kyle's like, interesting. Um, how long did you know that your mother was alive? Oh, what are you talking about, Kyle? Yeah, 'cause you looked a little bit more surprised to see me than you were your mother. Well, Kyle, you are very wise. You're very wise. And can you believe Summer was still trying to play it off like and say, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about. Well, I mean, it is a holy mess. Like, Daniel, I don't think you should be like, I know it's supposed to be family first, but if I were you, I would wash my hands and just be like, look, maybe you don't want to say anything to the police, but just pretend you didn't see your mother and just carry on. So I don't know. I don't know where this is going to go. Again, so much has happened. There was total comic relief. There was a few scene fillers. Um, I've got a new name for Cameron Kirsten, Phyllis myself. And yeah, I tell you, I cannot wait to see what's going to happen this coming week. So we'll see. Again, don't know how long Cameron's character is going to be on the show. I'm hoping it's not going to be for too long because I cannot imagine this guy slinking around the joint. Like, it's too much. Okay, again, him and his little creepy gifts, empty cigar box just with a matchbook in it, you know, a champagne bottle with like a thumbprint of blood, or I don't know. Like, did he go and cut himself and put this thing on there? I don't know. Just a set of weirdness. And geez, I hope Jack and Diane just do what you have to do. Get married already. Like Diane was talking about. I don't care. I'll go to the justice of the peace. Yeah, go to the job. That's fine. Do what you have to do. Just like, let's move this along. Again, let's see who gets married first. Is it going to be Jack and Diane, or is it going to be Tucker and Ashley? And yeah, so there you have it, folks. Again, it's been a whirlwind of a week. And thanks for sticking around for the end of the video. If you are happy and you know what, you love the show as much as I do, again, please don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button and hit the bell notification so that you don't miss a single video that I post. Again, thank you for just staying with me and just being along for this whirlwind of a ride. Again, everything is off the cuff. Like, no editing here, really. So, this is me. This is Y&R for Life. Again, it's all for the love of the show. I thank you so much from the bottom of my heart and can't wait to see what the next video, holds for us. So, take care, guys.